When you come to the Springs Preserve, you come through the entrance and then you follow the sign to the State Museum. And, oh, gee. Well, that's new. You come to the bristle cone tree, and then the restrooms are over here. Then they have this hands-on counter. Let's see, you can touch a T-Rex tooth. You can identify the different tracks left by skunks, bobcats, deer. And if you're lucky, you can find some trilobites. This is the special events area. There's a huge room in there where presentations are given. And then we get to this area, which is the permanent exhibit to the left, and then changing exhibits to the right. And at this point, it's the postcard of Las Vegas exhibit. So let's take a quick walk through and see what's going on. The first thing we run into is a woolly mammoth. And we know they were here because there's a place called Tule Springs, and the fossil monument or what is it, state park or whatever. Anyway, they have found specimens of ancient animals like the woolly mammoth, like the sloth, like the primitive horses and what have you in those areas, and they're still working on those. So that's the first thing you run into is the big mammoth. Then you come around here and you see some of the animals. Do not want to run into a cougar. Oh, there's somebody making noise. There's an old hooty owl up there. Then the badger, Mojave rattlesnake. You want to stay away from that. That's one of the most poisonous. Chuckwallers, kit fox, gray fox, and of course if you hear that rattling noise, you better be careful. Bighorn sheep, antelope, ground squirrel, those are those things that sort of run really fast across the road, and somehow most of them survive. Roadrunner. Okay, that is the cougar. Don't want to mess with that. Black-tailed jackrabbit and the coyote and the desert tortoise. More animals. Looks like a bobcat. And barn owl. little coyote, and the desert tortoise. And again, this is a quick tour. You could spend over an hour here and still have more to see. That's more like what that little ground squirrel looks like there. And I believe this is the sloth. Yep, the Shasta ground sloth. It looked more like this when it was alive. Then we get into some of the prominent people that had an influence on Las Vegas, like George Austin, first curator of zoology at the Nevada State Museum, Las Vegas. And Wheeler came through here on surveys in 1869 and 1879. And first mapped this area. Longwell was a professor at Yale University who mapped much of southern Nevada as well. Just think, he saw the country when there was nothing out here. And his whole survival kit was on that mule to his left. And then Margaret Wheat, self-taught geologist and anthropologist, who had a special interest in the Ichthyosaurus, which is the Nevada state's fossil. And there's a fossil of that old horse as well.
When the earth shakes, do not be afraid.
And this is dedicated to the Native Americans here, which were the Paiutes.
Make a
Very small child when the first white people came into our country. They came like a lion. Yes, like a roaring lion, and have continued ever since. I must tell a little about my poor people, and what we suffer at the hands of our white brothers. My people are murdered, and our reservations taken from us. One day Major Cochran said, "We are ordered to take your people to Yakima." I said, "What, in all this cold weather and this snow? Why, they will all die." It snowed all the time. During the night, a baby died. The next night, the mother too was gone. In 5 days, 3 more children were frozen to death. For shame, driving us from place to place as if we were beasts. There came a telegram saying, "The president wants you to go to Washington." It took us 1 week to get there. We were taken to the office of the Secretary of the Interior, and he said, "The government is going to do right by your people." But nothing was ever done to fulfill that promise.
Of course
made
not.
By Secretary Schurz. We, who are called blood-seeking savages, are keeping our promise to the government. I am crying out for justice. Yes, pleading. With the help of him who notes the sparrow's fall, I mean to fight for my downtrodden race while life lasts.
Sarah Winnemucca. had great influence on the Native Americans of Nevada. Unfortunately, all of her good work is not appreciated.
I'm going to teach you now. When you get home, you must make a dance to continue 5 nights. Dance 4 nights, and the last night keep dancing until the morning. And all must bathe in the river. When you get home, I shall give you a good cloud. I will give you a good spirit. There will be a good deal of snow this year and some rain. In the fall, there will be such a rain as I have never given you before. Tina, he says, when your friends die, you must not cry. You must not hurt anyone or do harm to anyone. You must not fight. Non at annoy and apijay yung maniwan. Do good always. When the time comes, there will be no more sickness, and everyone will be young again. When the earth shakes, do not be afraid. It will not hurt you. I want you to dance every 6 weeks. Make a feast at the dance and have food that everybody may eat. Then bathe in the water. You will hear good words from me sometime. That is all.
That is supposed to be Wovoka, who I did not know came from the Native Americans in Nevada, because the white people were so afraid of the ghost dance and they attributed it to him that they went crazy, and it resulted in Sitting Bull being arrested and then killed when they tried to take him in. So that's weird. Then I read somewhere where Wovoka wasn't the originator of the ghost dance, and the ghost dance was supposed to be where if you did the ghost dance, then the Native Americans could go back to a better time when the buffalo roamed, the grasses were tall, and they were free to roam about their territories. Now here's a real picture of Sarah Winnemucca. So it's a very interesting exhibit here. If you just run through it, yeah, it's just like anything else. But a lot of history here. No Conestoga. Can you imagine traveling across country in this rather than your super duper RVs? This is water tower. Important for the railroad. Which came to Las Vegas in 1905 and essentially started the town of Las Vegas, Nevada. And these were some other influential people. Of course, the Nevada became a state in 1864. And of course, Mark Twain really got moving on his writing career when he came out here with his brother, who was the territorial secretary. So these are the pioneers.
The smallest one.
And this takes you through what the mining era of Las Vegas.
But make the best things.
The one with the red around the red.
The train comes to Las Vegas. Now we're getting into a more modern era. Let's see, in this interesting fight thing, at first I thought it was Jack Johnson, but let's see, on the left is battling Nelson, and Joe Gans was on the right, and they fought for the World Lightweight Championship in Goldfield, Nevada in 1906. Apparently Gans won in 42 rounds. Fremont Street, Nevada Club, Harold's Club. Now this is interesting. This is the spring, we're in the Springs Preserve, and this is the kind of pipe that they established to carry water from this area, from the big springs here, into Las Vegas back in the beginning. And as you can see, it's made of wood. I think it's redwood. And the reason why they did that rather than concrete conduits and so forth is that it was cheaper. And so they worked with that rather than establishing something more permanent. Then we get into World War II here. Of course, Nellis Air Base became prominent during that time. What is that manual? Department of the Army, TM 91005 21310. Oh, it shows you how to work the BAR. So the military played an important part in established in Las Vegas. And then we talk about African Americans in Las Vegas came up here during the war because they needed labor. And a lot of them worked at that basic magnesium plant, which is over in Henderson. And of course, the blacks were put in one section called Carver. And then the whites were in the other section. And this was one of the early families there. Nice looking family. I'll bet they all did well. I wonder if some of them are still here. But anyway, that was a sign of the times. We can't argue about the past except to make sure it doesn't happen in the present. Then we get over to the gambling business in Las Vegas. Let's see, Polly Gonzalez. First Hispanic anchor to host the Las Vegas Evening News. Moved to Las Vegas in 1994 to be an anchor for KLAS. That's the old Howard Hughes station. And it's still in existence. And Betty Willis is the one who designed that Welcome to Las Vegas sign. And there's a picture of her there with Oscar Goodman. Sarah Knight Preety was prominent in civil rights movement and the first black woman to receive a gaming license in Nevada. And Macmillan, also known for civil rights activity. He was a dentist here, served in the Army Dental Corps in World War II. Oops. And then held a prominent role in civil rights. Let's see what's going on here. Doesn't that sound like old Vegas in the showrooms? And the historic west side. Gambling in downtown Las Vegas. Of course, the slot machines. A one-armed bandit. So there's a lot to see, to read all the signs and to digest all of this. Oh, I forgot about Rex Bell. That's his saddle that he probably wore in the El Dorado days. Those were really fancy and heavy saddles that were fashioned for those parade people. Oh, what is this? A phone booth? Just think, I used to use those things. Put a nickel in and you could make a phone call.